Alright, welcome to another Rise of the Eldrazi draft. Here's the first pack and the first pick of the first pack. This is an excellent pack. Unfortunately, it's hard for me to secure the colors that I want to grab. Like, I would be very tempted to take a Palaka Worm here. But then I'm passing Nest Invader, Kozilek's Predator, and Heat Ray. Like, I think Heat Ray is just the better pick here, because I don't think people respect Lust for War all that much, so I think I'm better off sliding into to red rather than going green there. Well, here's an interesting pack as well. You have Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, who, even though he costs 11, is definitely something to consider. He's obviously way better than Pathraiser of Ulamog in every single way. It is also mythic, which is fun, which means you don't get to play with it very often, so that can be a good time. I mean, if there was anything else that was sort of like an A+ card, the next best card in this pack is probably Dawnglare Invoker. You know, maybe Last Kiss because it's removal, but I think I'll take the Ulamog. This, you know, encourages me to move into green still. But maybe that massive green pack scared other people away besides myself. Okay, this is interesting. So, Overgrown Battlement is really good, and it ramps me into my Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre. On the other hand, so does Emrakul's Hatcher, and I'm already red, and I've already passed a lot of green. On the other hand, this pack is like the exact opposite of that first pack, where I can cut green, but not red. Even if I take the Hatcher, there's still a Lust for War and a Traitorous Instinct in there, which, when I take the Hatcher, yeah, this is tough. I mean, I could think about blue with a Skywatcher Adept and the Regress. Hedron Matrix, as equipment goes, is kind of a trap. It's really expensive. It's one of those cards that you can spend like 3 turns trying to equip it to a creature and failing over and over again when they use their removal. I think I'm going to have to go with the Battlement just because it's just a better card than Emrakul's Hatcher. Alright, well now we have a Rapacious one, which, since I'm red, is a very good card and can help me get to my Ulamog mana. You also have Nest Invader, which is a decent card. I think he's overrated in general. When the set first came out, people thought this guy was amazing. The vanilla 2/2 is sort of the problem here. It's not as good as Growth Spasm because you can't splash, and it only accelerates you by 1. There are just better things to play on turn 2, like Overgrown Battlement being one of them. So I think I'll take this Rapacious one because it's another thing that I can accelerate into. Alright, so I would consider taking the Vent Sentinel and going into that deck, but that deck has never proven itself to me to be a very good deck. I think if you want to talk about archetypes in this format, you've got a few tiers. Tier 1, you know, you've got blue-white levelers and green Eldrazi ramp and stuff like that. Tier 2 is like the Kiln Fiend deck and some other strange decks like that. And then Tier 3 is like Vent Sentinel decks. That's definitely a Tier 3 deck, so I think I'll take the Growth Spasm because it continues to help me accelerate into these guys. Alright, well, Sporecap Spider will help me stall the board to get to my Ulamog. On the other hand, Skittering Invasion will basically chain me directly into Ulamog or Rapacious one, although I guess it costs more than Rapacious one. Yeah, I could take the Soul Surge Elemental, which might be good in this deck. It's funny, this Skittering Invasion, when the set first came out, I thought it was really good, and then I sort of lost interest in the card. But recently I've started to have a little bit more respect for it again. Sometimes having a few blockers is all you need. Especially with Ulamog, I think I'm going to go with the Skittering Invasion. Okay, so now we have the somewhat balmy Rage Nimbus, or another Growth Spasm, which could be good. Another card I would consider is a Praise Vengeance, but not so great in my deck so far. I think I'd rather have a Rage Nimbus. This guy is really, really good. He can munch a lot of creatures, and if you get him out against the blue-white levelers deck before they get their action going, you can basically just win the game. Alright, well, Clearly Bramble Snap could perform fairly well in this deck, depending on how many more spawn tokens I get. It's better, I think, than hating a Halimar Wave Watch or once again taking the Vent Sentinel and heading in a direction of a deck I don't have a lot of confidence in. So I've seen Bramble Snap be very good. Well, I could take Sea Beyond and maybe splash blue, but Totem Guide Hartebeest is the most powerful card in this pack, and I so far don't really think I would splash blue. White seems pretty open, so I'll take the Hartebeest. And I don't really need another 11 cost Eldrazi in the same deck as Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, who is infinitely better than Pathraiser of Ulamog. So I will take the Survival's Cache, which once again keeps me flexible with white over here. Ooh. Here's an interesting question. Hedron Matrix or Ogre's Cleaver? I think I'd take Hedron Matrix in a deck like this, because if you get that on a Rage Nimbus, that's pretty insane. Same with Rapacious One. Obviously with Ulamog, that's just complete overkill, but even with Totem Guide Hartebeest, this could be okay. It's funny, it costs 1 less overall to play and equip than does, or 1 more than does Ogre's Cleaver. Alright, well there's the end of this pack.